Okay, so there are a bunch of reviews of this microphone all over YouTube. This is the Sony ECM-M1. This is not a review. There are a couple things about this little microphone that I feel like haven't really properly been covered in a lot of videos. One being how far away you can actually stand from it and still get decent audio. And the other is how the 4-channel recording that's built into this thing actually works in a video editing software. So we're gonna take a look at these things. Like many others, I've been rolling with the Rode NTG for a number of years when it comes to on-the-go video because this mic is awesome. But for as good and versatile as it is, it has one major pitfall, which isn't really even its fault. It's a big mic. I mean, when you're out shooting with this thing, everyone knows you're out shooting with this thing. It looks like a large microphone, but it's large for all the necessary reasons. I mean, the shock mount is great, and it's just, it's a big microphone. It gets you good audio. But when you're looking to travel light and you might not have room in your bag, this just takes up too much space. And another weird issue I've had with this microphone throughout the years is that sometimes when I'm recording, I notice that the mic just isn't on. It's supposed to automatically turn on with your camera, and most of the time it does, but sometimes it doesn't. So there's been times where I see there's no lights on and I have to quickly unplug it and plug it back into the camera, and then it turns on, but at that point, I may have already missed a pretty critical moment. Does that happen to anybody else, or is that just a me problem? It was all on Canon cameras, by the way, I want to mention that. But now I'm shooting with Sony cameras, and they have what's called the multi-interface shoe, and it is really incredible. With the multi-interface shoe, you can just take a little microphone like this, the Sony ECM-M1, plug it directly into that shoe mount, and you now have a wireless audio solution. And when I started using Sony cameras, I didn't even know the multi-interface shoe was a thing, so talk about a nice little bonus. Why don't all cameras have something like that? That's a question I've been asking myself a lot since I started using Sony gear. They're just a little more cutting edge than the rest. So let's take this little Sony ECM-M1 out and do a couple tests with it. We're gonna head to Red Rock Canyon, where it's gonna be extremely windy because that's how it is out there pretty much all the time. And we're gonna see just how it deals with the wind, but also more importantly, the test I really wanna do, how far away you can stand from this mic to even still get good audio, usable audio out of it. And then after that, we're gonna head back here, we're gonna get on the computer, we're gonna look at how the 4-channel audio system in this actually works in an editing program, because you might open up a file in your editing software and be like, hey, there's only one track here. Well, shouldn't there be 4? I'm gonna show you how to do that. Also worth noting, the audio in this video right now is coming from the DJI Mic 2, as well as the new DJI Lav, which they actually had in stock at the local camera store here finally, so I picked myself one up. I have no idea if it's gonna sound good or not, so we'll find out together. And just another real quick disclaimer, I like to show what gear can do. So a lot of the audio in this video with this microphone will be processed, but there will be times too where I'll turn the processing off so you can hear what it sounds like without being touched at all. All that being said, let's go. So remember when I said a couple weeks ago that we weren't gonna climb mountains for this anymore? Whoops. All right, so the reason that I wanted to come up here and test the Sony ECM-M1 out is for a couple reasons. Number one, because I haven't taken it outside yet. 2, most of the reviews that I've seen on this say that it sounds a lot better outside, and I don't totally disagree with that. It does sound kind of tinny inside, for lack of a better word, but it's also really windy out here right now. I'm at the top of a peak at Red Rock Canyon outside of Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Strip is actually right behind me. So it's windy. We're gonna test a couple things out here. Number one, the wind, but also the distance. I haven't really seen a lot of people step too far away from this camera when they've been reviewing it. Everyone stays pretty close, which I get it. You're gonna get the best output that way, but I am currently using the Sony 20-70 f4G lens, and I'm standing about 1.5 feet away from the camera, so this is how it sounds in that second direction mode. And I also have the 4-channel safety track on. I'm gonna take a couple steps back. Let's see how well this thing holds up. I'm also concerned because it's very windy, don't want the tripod to fall. We'll make it quick. All right, how's the mic sounding out here? I'm currently about 5 feet away from the camera. I'm gonna try and keep it as directional as I can because of that mode that we're in right now. Shooting with the Sony a7C II. I'm gonna go back a few more feet. I'm about 10 feet from the camera right now, if you can even see me. I can't even see myself. So how does this sound? How does this sound at this distance? I'm gonna keep coming up closer here. It's gonna start sounding better the closer I get to the camera. All right, now I'm about way too close to the camera. I can't see anything. It is so bright out here. but it's lovely. All right, while I'm up here, I want to test a couple things on this as well, like the low cut filter and the noise cancellation. Let's check it out. All right, here we are switching to the low cut filter. How's this sound? Standing up here at a peak at Red Rock Canyon in Las Vegas. Should be cutting some of the wind out, I would think. The low cut filter is on. Now let's try the noise cancellation. Noise canceling is on. How's this sound? Standing out here at Red Rock Canyon outside of Las Vegas. A little chilly for this time of year. How is the noise cancellation sounding on the Sony ECM-M1? Who names these things? So I'll tell you what, one thing that's really easy to love about this microphone right out of the gate is that auto gain feature. You know, most of the time if you're using any kind of shotgun mic, you want to use a manual mode, and I definitely will be using that in, say, concert environments and such, but it sounds, from what I can hear so far, like it limits the levels really nicely. So shout out to Sony on that one. More mics need an auto feature. Auto is good. So I didn't get a mic like this with the intention of it replacing something like my Rode NTG. I just don't think the sound quality is going to be there. I haven't really got to listen back to it too much yet, but I can tell you what, the portability factor of this is just about enough to make you not care how the sound sounds. Because it weighs nothing. It's so discreet, it's so sleek. Coming out here and doing something like this, if you're gonna go on a hike or just any kind of, even out in the street, if you're vacationing, if you just wanna capture some scenes, it's so unobtrusive. It doesn't scream, "I'm filming." And that's what I wanted out of it. So far so good. Really quick, I just gotta say, what is up with these Sony sensors collecting dust? It's crazy. I never got dust on one of my Canon sensors ever. And without even trying, even if I have this in a bag and the lens hasn't come off or anything, even when I've just cleaned it, there's just like dust either on the lens or the sensor. Is that like a Sony problem? I never had this problem with Canon. I can see the dust specks on the footage when I'm just looking back. And I mean, I can barely see because it's so bright, but I can see those specks and it's driving me mad. All right, so just one more distance test before I go back down. I have us in the third directional mode right now. I'm currently about 6 feet away from the camera. Now I'm back there, about 15 feet away from the camera. How does it sound? Can you hear anything with this microphone from this distance? We got winds that are about 12 miles an hour. It seems a little windier than that. About 15 feet away. How does the mic sound at distance? Probably sounds pretty good right now. So now that you have your footage in your editing software, which we're gonna be using Final Cut Pro for our example, how exactly do you see those 4 tracks of audio? Because when you just put the file in, you can see that it's just one file and it looks like it's peaking hard. What I love about this microphone right out of the gate is that auto gain feature. And honestly, it sounds pretty good like that. But where are those tracks? Now, if we were to click over in our audio inspector, you can see that they are all here. But what if we want them to show up on our timeline? Well, right click and select Expand Audio Components, and bam, there are your 4 tracks. These 2 are the directional mode that you chose on the back of the microphone. This third one is an omnidirectional one, so it's picking up everything. And then this bottom one, per my understanding, is a minus 20 dB version of your directional pattern, or it might be minus 20 of the omnidirectional. Either way, it's minus 20. You have a safety net right there. So if you wanted to hit V and disengage these, now you just have the 1 track, and it's much quieter. Now, of course, you can process that. One thing I definitely recommend is to come up with your own settings of how you like to do it and then save that preset. And then you can make a custom folder, and I already have an ECM-M1 outside option that I created for this. This microphone right out of the gate is that auto gain feature. And it sounds much better. But one thing I noticed too is that if you take, let's just say even the omnidirectional track and you engage that, you get a really nice full sound. So that's just something to play around with. But if you were curious as to where all those tracks were, if you use a program like Final Cut, it's as easy as right clicking and showing all the audio components. So let's wrap this up. The Sony ECM-M1 has exceeded my expectations because they were pretty low. I think I had pre-buyer's remorse when I picked this thing up. Now that I've actually used it and I see how compact it is in my hand and I hear how actually good the audio is, I'm impressed. If you do a lot of like documentary style filming, or maybe you're just vlogging, I don't know, you're just doing things on the go, this is such a great option. But the one major hiccup you might have with it is the price. Is it worth the price? This mic currently costs $350. And for a mic that can only be used on Sony cameras and nothing else, that's pretty steep. And to put that into perspective, you can buy the Rode NTG for $250. And this is compatible with every camera there is. And this is compatible with every camera there is. You can plug it into anything. But it's more than that. You can use this as a mic for podcasting. I plug it into my computer all the time and I record audio with it, because Rode has this program called Rode Connect, where you can plug a mic like this in, and then you have this audio interface on your computer, which is incredible. The program has a built-in noise gate, compressor, it processes the audio, you have sound effect cues. I mean, you can use this as a streaming platform, or you can just record really great audio with it. And I actually do a radio show every day, and when I'm on the road, I use this mic all the time to record my radio show, and you can't even tell that I'm not in a studio. That Rode Connect program is great. So now you hear about how awesome the Rode NTG is, and you hear about how much cheaper it is versus the ECM-M1. So why would you get this? That's a question you are probably fairly asking yourself right now. And the simple answer for that is the insane convenience. It is very expensive, considering you can only use this on Sony cameras. You can't plug it into a computer or anything like that. It can be very limiting when you think about it that way. But that's why you can't think about it that way. What you have here is a device that really doesn't exist on any other camera platform, and that's pretty cool. You're paying a premium, but you're getting probably the most compact shotgun mic that has incredible features. And you know, when we were looking at that 4-channel system that's built into this thing, that is such a great safety net when you're unsure of how your audio is going to turn out. That's a great feature. So if you're going to have tech that doesn't exist on other platforms, you are going to pay a higher price for it, and it's up to you to decide if that's worth it or not. To me, I think it is. I love low profile gear, and it doesn't get much more low profile than this. It's easy to carry around, and it draws way less attention than something like this. I mean, when you're using a Rode NTG, everyone's like, hey, that guy's filming. Anything that draws less attention to you filming is good for everybody. The size of the ECM-M1, the auto gain feature, which is awesome, and the surprisingly good audio that comes out of this makes it an item that I can definitely recommend if you need it. But maybe even if you don't need it. I mean, this is so small, you just toss it in your bag, and then you always have a compact audio solution, and preparedness meets success. Why not pick one up? So that's it. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you can kind of see the range of this little microphone now. It's actually pretty good. It's very useful, and even in a really windy environment, color me impressed. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking this video out. Please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you like the channel, or even if you don't, just if you're curious. You'd have to be a very curious person to randomly subscribe to a channel, but I hope you like this content. There will be more coming up. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Dan Virchow. I will see you on the next one. Also, what are our thoughts on the audio from the DJI Lav mic? Brand new, first time using it. I won't even hear it until we put this video together. So if you think the audio for this is good, comment below. Let me know.